and welcome to I Keep It Simple series. Today I'm going to talk about how you can use your freezer to have quick and healthy meals always on hand. I love having a well-stocked freezer because it just makes mealtime that much easier. So I'm going to talk about a few of the things that I keep in my freezer and that you can too, so that you can make this happen. The biggest thing that I have in my freezer is frozen vegetables. I buy a bunch of different varieties. I buy store-bought. This is just a mix. I also have green beans, peas, corn, carrots, spinach. Store-bought sometimes gets frozen vegetables kind of get looked down upon because they're not as good as fresh, but that's not true at all. Frozen vegetables are just as good as fresh, and they can be easier sometimes because they're quicker. I don't have to cut them up. They're already ready to go. All I have to do is defrost them. So I like to keep those in hand to add into meals or just to have as a side. Another type of vegetable I like to have is pureed vegetables. This is pureed butternut squash. That just makes it easier to put into soups and stews. All you have to do is just defrost it and use it rather than do the whole prep work. You can also use it in baked goods, so I like that. You can also buy fresh vegetables, cut them up and freeze them and use them that way too. I also have some shredded vegetables that I have, some zucchini and carrots that I like to add into baked goods or soups or anything like that. Just a bunch of different varieties of vegetables so you can just grab and go. I also like to keep frozen fruit in my freezer, like bananas and berries, that I can use in smoothies and baked goods. I can make ice cream with it, topping for cereals and frozen treats, stuff like that. So I like to keep those on hand. Other things I like to keep, I like to make big batches of sauces. And I found that it's really easy to make a big batch and then freeze them into ice cube trays so that you have little portions of it, so you don't have to take the whole thing out and defrost all this sauce and maybe not use all of it. You can just take out what you need in these little squares and throw them in to whatever meal you're making. You can also do this with fresh herbs like cilantro or parsley. All you have to do is cut them up and then put them into the ice cube trays, add a little bit of olive oil and freeze them, and then you have little portions of fresh herbs to throw into your meals. I also like to keep actual meals frozen in my freezer. I have stew right here, butternut stew. I like to make big batches of some meals and then I'll freeze the extras. That way on days that are really busy or I don't feel like cooking, I just can pull out a meal, defrost it, and it's ready to go. So what I do is I just put them in these freezer bags and I lay them flat. And once they're completely frozen, then you can store vertically like this, and it saves a lot of space in your freezer. The other thing that I like to have frozen is beans and grains. Just make sure they're cooked beforehand. That way you can just throw those into meals whenever you need them. You can also keep muffins and breads. I have my little cornbread bites in there. You can use those, so you can just pull them out as you need them. So I hope that this was helpful and that you got a few ideas of things that you can keep in your freezer and keep a well-stocked kitchen so that you can have quick and healthy meals whenever you need them. Alright, thank you, and I'll see you next week.